Start your day on the Ave Maria Radio Network.
And we are back. We are so excited because it is time for our segment, Oh, What a Beautiful World, in cooperation with Corporate Travel. Always love this segment because we get to meet all these folks associated with corporate travel, but none like this one. It's Steve Ray. Steve Ray in the house this morning. Can't wait to spend some time with Steve. Former Baptist who converted to Catholicism in 1994 after a deep dive into church history. He's now a popular author, popular is understated, by the way, popular author, speaker, filmmaker, pilgrimage leader, having led over 170 trips to the Holy Land. His best-selling book, Crossing the Tiber, tells the story of his journey to the Catholic Church. Steve regularly appears on EWTN Catholic Radio and events around the world. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Are you sure you're referring to me? I'm just
brother.
a simple guy.
We're excited that you're here. Obviously, anyone associated with EWTN, with Ave Maria Radio, is very familiar with you and all the wonderful work that you've done to bring pilgrimage to life, to bring travel, sacred travel to life for so many of us, not only those of us who are able to accompany you in person, but those who accompany you through video and all of your other presentations. So thanks for the many ways you've invited us as a group of believers to accompany you on pilgrimage.
Well, thank you very much. It all started, by my wife and I went to the Holy Land after we became Catholics in 1994. 1995, we had this insatiable desire to go see where Jesus walked. And we went, and we loved it so much. I cried through the whole trip. Even they asked me to do a reading at Mass, and I tried and tried. 2 minutes later, I sat down. I couldn't. I was crying. So 3 months later, we said, we got to go back again. So my wife and I went back again. And then we went back again with our kids and drove around for a month. And then I said, I wish we could take everybody to the Holy Land. Everybody should experience this. But obviously that's not possible. And then I woke up in the year 2000. It was a Jubilee year. And it was just like, I knew immediately what I had to do. I had to do a video series. So I grabbed my wife, and it was all in my head. I never thought of it before. I grabbed my wife, wake up. We got to make a film series on the history of salvation from a Catholic perspective. And she said, you're crazy. I thought the house was on fire or something. She said, we can't even take good pictures. How does God expect us to make movies? And so she went back to sleep, but I got up that night and I typed out the whole outline for a 10-part video series called Ignatius Press, because I already had a few books with them. They said, come on out and tell us your idea. I went to their board meeting the next week. They had 2 bottles of wine, a red bottle and a white, and I waited till they drank both of those bottles before I told them my idea.
Oh, I love it. That's so fabulous.
Father Fessio said, how much has it been done before? I said, no, it's never been done before, this kind of a scope. He said, how much will it cost? I said, I don't know. I've never done anything with video before, but a friend told me it'd be over $2 million. He said, well, my third question is, how soon can you get started? I'm wearing $50,000 into your account, get started. That was 25 years ago. Wow. So once we started making these movies all on location in Iraq and Israel and Jordan and Syria, then people said, why don't you take us to these places? Why don't you just, instead of in the movies, we'll go if you take us. So with Corporate Travel, we put up a blog one day in my website, and it sold out overnight, 50 people, and that was in the year 2005. And we've taken over 100 groups to the Holy Land. Since then, my wife and I have been to Israel over 200 times ourselves, not counting Iraq and Jordan and Syria and Egypt. That's just Israel. And so, and then what happened is, when early on we had a travel agent, it was called Speakerman, and he was an old Egyptian and he worked with us, but he died. And I said, now what are we going to do? Who's going to help us with our trips? And the next day I got a phone call from a guy who says, hello, my name's John Hale. I said, I don't know who you are. He says, well, I'd like to come out and meet you. And he came out, and that was 20 years ago today, and we struck up a partnership, and Corporate Travel has been our exclusive travel agent for taking all of our pilgrimages. And we just got back from our 20th anniversary celebration on a Danube river cruise. That was a new one for me, but it was.
So this was your first time, because I've heard over and over people who have gone on these love this particular pilgrimage.
Yeah, and all the other trips I always have been on myself first before I take people. My wife and I'll even fly over, rent a car, and drive through everything, see the hotels, meet the guides, everything in advance. This one was a brand new one for us. And normally I give talks like on our St. Paul cruise. It's all biblical sites, and I love teaching the Bible, so I'm up there talking about all these sites. But this one's new for us, this Danube River cruise.
So what did you, what were the sites that you saw? Like, because you were in Budapest, right, and Prague. So what kind of holy sites did you see during this cruise?
Well, we went to 5 different countries, and I'm going to be particular here in holy sites. I reserve holy sites to the lands where Jesus walked or God walked.
Got it.
Because that's holy ground. The other ones, I consider them sacred sites, that they're sacred for us as Catholics especially. But man, when God walks, remember when Moses, he said, take off your sandals as you're on holy ground? Well, Moses could have said, well, what the heck for? This is the same dirt and rocks I saw yesterday. I walked on them yesterday with my sandals. What is different? And the difference was God has touched down. Therefore, this land has changed. It's different now. So when we went on this the Danube River cruise going through 5 countries, struck me was that these countries were distinctly Catholic countries. We're talking Hungary, Slovakia, Austria, Germany, and Czechoslovakia. My wife is half Czech, so that was kind of fun going there. The first time, by the way, we went to Czechoslovakia was in 1985, and it was still communist. And we had our 2 kids with us, and we found out there were some Christians in Poland that needed help. So we went through Checkpoint Charlie. We smuggled Bibles and money and medicine and all of that stuff. It was under the seats of the car and in the dashboard. And we went through Checkpoint Charlie, and we smuggled all that stuff behind the Iron Curtain. And we went to Prague, which is where we ended up our trip this time, in Prague. And I remember when we went there, I went into the old town square at about 10 o'clock at night, and I watched the Soviet soldiers marching in procession all around the square. Very, very dark days in those countries. But these countries were amazingly Catholic. Some of them are losing their Catholicism. They're losing their faith in many ways. And I told our folks when we're there, we should be praying for these countries to regain their heritage, what they have lost. But the way they built these beautiful churches, I'm talking about Budapest and Bratislava, which is in Slovakia, and Vienna and Prague and Salzburg. Beautiful, beautiful churches. These people love God, and they built these magnificent edifices. And that's what really struck me through the whole trip.
Steve, thank you.
I hear the
Thank you
music.
very much. Yeah, we're coming to the end, but I want to make sure pilgrimages by CTS.com. Find out